Welcome to WeTaku Anime Reviews, a podcast in which we occasionally come all together and talk about a show. If you've been wondering why we haven't been here in a while, it's because we haven't been here in a while. It's such a lovely feeling. This is the first time all four of us have been on the same Skype call in, far too long. Sorry we've had some technical difficulties since, June? It's been a while, and also I'm dating us right now, it's September. Late September. But we're back. We're planning to keep on keeping on as we've been going. You're not going to expect any more delays from us probably for a while unless the riots get to us. And they're far away right now. That said, once more I welcome you. My name is Jovan. I am your host, and my shonen doctorate is currently on my wall behind this laptop. But if you could see it, you could say it. Yeah. If you could see it, you could see that it says that I have a focus on shonen.
It's just a bunch of posters.
Those posters are mostly shonen, though, and that's the doctorate in my book. With me are my three not-so-lovely co-hosts. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Thomas, and I have been spending way too much time on Overwatch in these past 2 weeks.
I'm Steven, and I have been spending too much time on WoW in these past 2 weeks. The new expansion's so good. And I don't have a degree, but I like anime.
Get out of my show.
And I'm Allan. I've been spending way too much time on mobile games, Japanese mobile games, in the past few weeks. And I like turtles.
He also likes not having a webcam. Oops up.
Hey man, at least I pick high quality images.
We can start alternating weeks. He can take mine next week, and I won't have a webcam.
Debates for later. Alright, but today we are discussing, I don't know the Japanese name of this one, so I'm just going to say the pet girl of Sakurasou. Does anybody want to...
Sakurasou no pet na Kanojou. I butchered that.
I didn't have to butcher it this time.
It was close enough.
Headphone warning. Alright, yeah. So that, a shoujo show... Why is there so many tongue twisters today? A shoujo show about Sakurasou, which is a dorm in an art school for troublemakers. The dorm's for troublemakers, not the art school.
I wouldn't call this shoujo.
Yeah, I agree. I just call it a rom-com.
This is directed toward dudes.
Yeah.
I am not the dude who's directed towards.
No, me neither.
Fine, we'll say rom-com. My bad. I'm a bit rusty. I gotta take the training wheels back off. These guys will hold me up until we're moving. But I think we're just gonna jump straight into scores here. With story. My verdict on story is Things happen. It's a character-driven show. To some extent. I wouldn't say it's as character-driven as some of the shows we've done before, but it's pretty character-driven. I think the decisions that the characters make, the choices they have to make, the ways they interact with each other is probably the focal point of the show. That said, those decisions that individual characters make seem very to drive the plot forward, this happened, I guess. I want this because I do. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. So I thought the story was a little bit forced, and I think I gave it a 5, fingers crossed. Was that a 5?
It was a 5.
Woo!
You have a list.
I lost the list. It's fine. I'll find it. But yeah, I gave that a 5 out of 10 for completely average. Friendly reminder that a 5 on our list is average. Anything above a 5, above average. Anything below 5, below average. We are not video games here.
I also gave this a 5. Now, this is a slightly different reason. I didn't actually consider it average, because in the beginning, I considered it far, far below average. It was terrible. I hated it. I did not want to watch it. I was sitting there and I was kind of just rubbing my temples, trying to get rid of the headache that is the brown-haired girl as she just screams for no reason ever. And then finally we get to episode 9 and it starts picking up. And then it falls off again in the middle episodes and then picks back up again. But I think it significantly picked up, so much so that I liked it enough that it, I guess, balanced out just how bad it was in the beginning. Not enough to give it a higher score than a 5, but it was good if you can stick it out.
Okay, I gave it an 8. Okay, also, Tom, you and I are gonna have a fun best girl conversation, I believe.
Oh no.
So, anyway, I gave it an 8. I think, I totally agree, the beginning is a little hard to get through. It has, like, a bit of ecchi, and it's just kind of like, this is maybe fun, but I think it gets a lot better later on. And personally, without like going into detail, what sets this apart from other rom-coms in my mind is that there's a lot of different romances going on, and I cared about a lot of them. It's not just like main character has 3 different girls, blah blah blah. There's a lot more going on in the show than that, and they also like have to deal with failure. It's not just main character wins. No, they go through a lot of failure throughout the show. So that's why I like the story, and I gave it an 8.
Okay. I gave story a 6.5. I think that overall it was pretty good. It was executed pretty well, but it gets sidetracked a lot by the comedy, which is kind of hit or miss. If you don't like rom-coms, you won't like it. That's just it. Aloe, just like any rom-com, the story is really reactionary. Like Jovan said, stuff happens and they go along with it. So yeah, 6.5.
Okay.
Fair enough. I do want to make one more point about the comedy. The comedy for me almost entirely fell flat, I'll be completely honest. So disclaimer for that is that anime comedy for me is very hit or miss. In that something like, what was the example I gave you guys in the pre-show? I completely lost it.
Bakuto Test.
Thank you. Bakuto Test. Something like Bakuto Test, like, I didn't laugh at that once when I watched it a few years back. But I was watching a garbage filler arc of Fairy Tail, like, last night, and they made, like, a really bad, like, sitcom-y, like, shtick joke, just, like, one. And I was dying, and I was like, this is the greatest filler of all time. So like, ignore my sense of humor there. But I will say that if you don't like a lot of that kind of, especially rom-com kind of comedy, and especially just like random gags out of nowhere for the sake of it, maybe don't. Maybe don't this.
Yeah, that's very fair.
So moving on to characters. I gave characters a 6. I think that, like Steven said, I did enjoy the fact that there were romances between more than just the main character and his main love interest. In that, it's almost Toradora-y, but not quite. I did enjoy that aspect. I enjoyed that some relationships were, like, pre-established. Not like that they were already dating or they were, like, planning to get married or anything. But, like, and now you guys automatically know who I'm talking about. But pre-established relationships that you just kind of, you jump in at, like, a random jump out of the box for your birthday scene. And it's like, well, I guess this is normal for these people. But, yeah. I mean, yeah. But, like, I kind of did like that those characters were established that way. Also, Prime knows in the chat, we accept everybody. But, yeah, I think characters were probably the show's strongest point. I didn't love them, though, and especially comedy gags, once more, kind of took away from characters as well. And I also really, really kind of hated the premise between having to take care of what essentially amounted to an invalid. Because it felt like... I'll get more into it in spoilers, but it felt like that person's life had not started until then. So...
I'd like to come in there and say, like, that's part of why, for me, even the beginning is hard to get through. Because I think Sheena definitely gets better, you know? Like, she's not an invalid for the whole show.
That's my problem, though. if she can grow that easily.
She needed
that
love.
easily. My score was a 6. Thomas.
I gave mine a 7. Characters. I didn't hate the main character. Congratulations, Japan, you did it. Then so brown hair girl, his best friend character, she started off super annoying. I could not stand her. She turns any little thing into a giant thing. Yes, there are people like that. I do not associate myself with those people. But my favorite characters were Jean, the cool dude, and then Misaki, the girl that's always fawning over him. I thought that their relationship, while I'll get into it when we get to spoilers, but I liked it, but it was for like it only was in the way it was, not me liking it, but fuck it. I didn't like the reasoning behind anything that they did, but I liked the relationship anyway. That was my main point. Sorry, I got a little distracted. My phone went off right there. So 7 out of 10. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I've pretty much said everything about the characters. Again, like, the relationships between them I thought were great all around. I really liked all the characters, actually, except the blonde-haired girl from England that randomly shows up, and she was like, whatever, but other than that, I really liked all the characters. I think the characters in a lot of ways are tropes taken to an extreme, and I think they were taken to such an extreme that they were really enjoyable. And so I give characters an 8.5.
Alright, I think that the characters grow a lot during the anime, and I'm basing my score almost entirely on that because, like Jovan said, one of them didn't seem to have a life before then. But I think that all the relationships go somewhere. People find their aspirations, and I can really appreciate all of that. So I gave it a 7.5.
That's fair. And I am looking forward to discussion of characters, especially when we get to the spoiler section, because there's like one thing especially in the last episode that made me be like, all right, well there goes that beautiful character moment, I guess. Moving on. But all right, so moving on to animation. All right, this is a show about art to some extent. It did that pretty all right. I won't lie there. I think the show looked fine. I liked the painting, and I liked the variation of the painting. We have the final version up as our overlay, actually. It looked nice. I don't think it was anything spectacular. I don't think the show, like, wowed me in any way. I think if you showed me the drawings of those cats, I would guess literally any anime, and it would probably be correct. But, it was alright. So, it was above average, for sure. It did its job, and I think it looked nice. I enjoyed it for what it was. So I gave animation a 7.
I gave animation an 8 because I liked it. I thought it trying to think about this technically. It had a lot of cutaways to small little the stills that they drew that were very pretty. So like at one point I remember specifically for some reason it's just this like a teapot just sitting there. It wasn't on or anything. It's just there, and like it just cut to that, then moved to a different thing. And I don't know, those little things that kind of establish like the area that they're in. Like you get a feel for like how big it is, like where the kitchen is in respect to the room, and they did a very good job with that. The colors were vibrant. They wanted a palette that just attacked your senses, and they got that pretty down pat. The animation was pretty fluid. I liked there's a fight in it, not a big deal, but it was there, and it was okay. They did an alright job. The punches looked like they had weight to them, except for one punch I noticed. He just totally missed the other guy and he still reacted. Looked a little weird, but I mean, it's hard to do that, I understand. And like no real downsides to it, and there was just nothing experimental really. It was just your typical good, well animated show. So I gave it an 8.
I thought it was beautiful. I personally really like this just general style. Like, I don't know, it's a kind of specific way of drawing. Like, it's not uncommon, but I really like it when things just look like this does. Though, I think the fight was a very fluid scene, and there were a couple of other extremely fluid scenes, but in general, I thought the animation was a little flat. Just, I don't know. Like, sometimes Misaki would be moving around, like, a lot, and she's just kind of jumping from frame to frame, like, almost like low frame rate, just because of, it wasn't really fluid throughout. There were fluid scenes. So with that, and I also thought they overcompensated a little bit. Like, they used so many, like, lens flares and just color schemes, like, kind of like post-processing looking effects. Sorry. I thought that was overcompensating a little bit, but it was still very pretty. And I ended up giving it a 7.5. I did think it's absolutely beautiful, though.
I gave it an 8. I think that it's a very colorful series, like very colorful. Steven's point about the post-processing, that's very evident. The lighting is very evident in a lot of scenes. You can sometimes it kind of covers up a lot of the screen. It still looks nice, so I'm not gonna like take off for it. There were fluid scenes and there are not fluid scenes, but overall I think it did its job, and sometimes it did above its job. As far as like the art style itself, I quite like it. It kind of reminds me, I don't know what it reminds me of, but it's very clean. It fits the coloring a lot, and I think it overall just is very good for the show. Also, if you take a look at who I am right now, this is not actually that indicative of the art style.
No,
so
not even a little.
So don't take my picture for that. It is from the series. It's not the main art style.
They do have those colors, though.
Yes,
that's true.
It is that
enough,
colorful.
The background to overlay probably should also not be taken as the actual art style, but it's closer than Allan's picture, which I guess says something. I should say, I actually really like hearing you guys' arguments there. I might want to bump animation up a little bit, just due to the fact that it was gorgeous, even if the animations themselves were a little on the weaker side. And bumping into sound. Alright, we're going to do this one slightly differently. Allan, get ready to rapid fire click those scores, because I can speak for all of WeTaku for the first and last time in history.
Oh god, okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
You ready for this? We gave sound a resounding 6. We did it. A resounding, top of the line, extraordinarily incredible 6 out of 10.
What is wrong?
Resounding. Thank you.
Resounding.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steven has an argument. Steven has an argument.
This is why I'm not allowed to talk for all of us always.
So my only argument here is that I think in general it was very, very average. The sound did its job, but they obviously didn't really put a whole lot of effort into it. It added a bit to the moments, but it could have done totally without it, and I would have been fine, honestly. Though the final like graduation song, I absolutely loved. the like elementary school graduation song at the end, and also in the last episode. But yeah, so like one super good song that I watched the show a long time ago, and I was so looking forward to the song at the end. So
Did anyone
Huh?
Oh, go ahead and finish.
Oh yeah, so in general I thought it was very average, but there were parts that were above average, so 6.
Did anyone pay attention to like sound effects and all that? Because I didn't really, I forgot to.
Usually I would, but if you guys haven't gathered by now, this was not my like show of the century.
I mean,
I was kind of like, I'm just
First
gonna
week
get
back,
through it.
man.
First week back. Second week back, oh boy, but...
well, if we take into account the voice acting, I actually think the voice acting was quite excellent.
Japanese or English?
But Japanese.
Has anybody here watched the dub?
I don't think
I didn't
anyone
know there
watched
was
the
one.
dub.
I thought-
Yeah, I don't think there is one.
Oh, that makes life easier. Alright, perfect.
Yeah.
Generally, that's my job to check for, but once more, I didn't really want to watch extra.
The voice acting was absolutely perfect for the characters, I believe. Though not like, I don't know. I'm not a great judge of voice acting. And as far as like just general sound effects go, they had like, you know, generic gag sound effects when they did things. Like there was nothing really special about it, in my opinion.
I wanted to say one thing. The second opening song was alright. I liked it. The first one was awful. Terrible. I skipped it every time. Couldn't stand it. I don't do that normally. It was so generic and so just in your, like, it was loud and it was annoying and in high pitch. Every time.
Though the second ending had me nodding my head back and forth like they do in the video. So,
Like I said before the podcast, I never checked it out. I don't know. I forgot.
go back and do that. I think the second ending was really good. But I agree. I thought the openings were kind of whatever. Very generic. Very generic.
Alright, so, with that in mind, we get to go into the spoiler section, the bit where we actually get to talk about details instead of vaguely referencing things we liked / did not like.
The best girl?
Don't
That's-
spoil the bits, come on now. We gotta keep them on their toes.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Fine. Alright, so friendly reminder that if you are in the Twitch chat right now, I mean, like, keep watching with us because I like you guys. If you are watching us YouTube, then pause the video right now if you don't want to be spoiled. Go watch the show and come back. If you don't care, then just stick with us and listen to us talk about it with all our spoilery goodness. So with that in mind, we're going to be going into spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to spoiler section. With that, I have to ask, who was best girl?
Ryunosuke, probably.
Can I go first?
He's my spirit animal.
Go, Steven.
No, because I just went.
Aoyama Nanami, brown-haired girl. She is best girl. No contest.
Mizaki.
Wow.
Go, fight.
Okay,
Fight.
alright. If best girl's not a girl, then I like Jean. Jean is probably my favorite character in the show. Fuck Nanami! Fuck her! I hate her! She's so annoying and starts trouble. For the purpose of starting trouble. Like, she did purposely, would not listen to either. Like, first of all, realize that Sheena is not a fully functioning person, and she took everything that she said to heart immediately. Second, she did not ever listen to main character Kun when he was trying to talk to her about anything. And anytime she heard something, she was like, oh, do they really mean this? And would run away.
She's emotional. She's sweet and cute and emotional. and she gets cucked the entire time.
Chat thinks she's hot, so there's that.
She is. She's the hottest one.
Oh.
She's best girl, man.
I'm gonna go with no comment for best girl.
Oh, always and forever. Not a
I picked the Hikikomori.
Can I pick one of the cats?
You would, Allan.
Alright. On top of that, after best girl, which I think... I loved the emotion behind this question, the charged feelings, truly. But, didn't it? Light works that way.
No, storm's coming. Let me turn it off.
Blame the clouds. Alright, with that, I do want to bring up the ending. I know I'm skipping straight to the ending. I want to bring up the ending for one bloody thing. One bloody thing that just, like, characterizes so much of this show to me.
Get on with
And
it!
This is... Alright, screw you. This is, like, I guess maybe my mental set with the jokes as well, though. Was the, oh, what's his name? Jin gives, I want to say Masaki's her name, the marriage proposal thing for them to sign together when he gets home. And I was like, oh man, that's like so sweet and great, and like I really like how their characters went there, and like that's nice. And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, all right, so I got them signed myself, and now we're married. And he just doesn't know it yet. Woo! I was like, all right, there goes that moment.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't ruin the moment for me. You had the moment, and then you had the joke later.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how I got it.
I guess
so.
the jokes just like didn't resonate with me at the end of the day, and that I think that one moment like exemplified the whole thing for me, where I was just like, I'm feeling it, I'm not feeling it.
Fair enough.
While we're still on the topic of Jin and Misaki, I wanted to say that the part that I didn't like about the relationship, so he keeps like avoiding her, right? Throughout the entire show, and he keeps saying that he won't hurt her. Nothing he ever does would lead me to think he would ever hurt her, and I think it's just a very weak argument for him to never do that. It adds drama to it, and I feel like it's very flat, though. There's nothing more to it. It's not like he's unstable. It's not like he's leaving. He doesn't decide to leave until he's like out anyway. And I don't know. That part made me think that the entire relationship wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. However, their interactions were my favorite. Character interactions to one.
Oh man, he hasn't brought it up in so long.
I did. I said it earlier.
Oh.
I said it when I was talking about the story and how it was driven.
Did you say that specific phrase?
I did. Thank you very much. I'm aware of my tropes. Thank you.
Oh well. I also
I'm
thought
self-aware.
Misaki and Jean had a great relationship. God, it like clutched my heart every time. It's like he walks in the room and she's there naked. He literally has a ring in his hand and doesn't give it to her as she's confessing. It's like, oh, get it together.
Ultimate Bro though is the ex class president dude. He was so cool. He's like, oh, I'm staying with him for a bit. What? Oh, no, yeah, I'm staying with you. He's like, yeah, okay. Like, they were cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
They had an interesting relationship too.
They were very cute.
Yeah. I did enjoy. I think I enjoyed the side characters considerably more than I enjoyed the main characters.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
Fair enough.
Which also, I would like to bring up the fact that the first major plot line, I think that the first thing I would call a major plot line, when the manga contest comes around, and then main character Kun, whose name I have forgotten once more, decides to leave, and then not leave, and then the manga changes, and then everything's daijobu, and then it is, and then it isn't, and then it is, and
Indecision.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Indecisiveness.
Yeah. And I thought the whole manga arc was a little. That was the like you said, that was the first one, right?
yeah.
I think this, and as Thomas mentioned, like the first bit was hard to get through. For me, after the manga arc, you go into like they're making Nyampolon, the anime for the cultural festival. At that point, I thought it was a lot better. Like after you got past the manga.
Yeah.
Okay, key name that they did excellently. Neapolitan.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
However, I hated the cultural festival with all the clapping. It was just a little too much of a feel-good moment. I did not, it grated me. And
Thomas hates feel-good moments.
I do.
Aww.
End moment though, like I liked this part that like they have like the nice little ending, except Sora. Maybe I missed it, but Sorata still does not have a job anymore. And so, like, not everything's resolved, but they do a good amount of things, and they kind of just shove that under the rug. But
It's a good halfway moment. anime tends to show up in halves, even though like arcs might break that a little bit. I think one thing that all of us have noticed, anime tends to show up in halves, and the first half will generally end around episode 14. So I think that was that moment, and I think it closed it decently nicely. The main character Kun doesn't need a job. Jobs for the week.
Well, you say they closed it, but they also introduced new characters, so they're like, yeah, let's do a season 2, except not.
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah.
that might have been, if we're gonna stick to like 100%, we gotta stick to the traditional format. I guess that would have been better to show up in episode 15 to just kind of start us anew, in a way.
Yeah.
With this, they never really had the perfect transition. They just kind of kept keeping on,
Yeah.
which might have hurt pacing. Pacing in the show for me was meh.
I thought pacing was fine.
I found it was okay. I found it strange that they seemed to put a lot of time, a good amount of time into Sorata's sister, don't remember her name.
Fuko.
Sure. And she, like, seems to have almost no significance throughout the entire thing. Yet they spend a lot of time with her and she doesn't really change at all. Nothing really happens to her except that she didn't get in and then she does get in and...
Yeah, she annoyed me.
Yeah.
She annoyed me. I didn't like her.
Yeah.
I just liked when she pulled the balloon and it fell on her. That's my favorite part.
Fair enough.
Oh, but I love the false tension at the end, though. I
Yeah.
didn't get in. Oh wait.
JK.
JK,
now.
copying and pasting numbers is really difficult. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there are 5 numbers. 6 numbers. They're not hard to memorize.
Apparently,
No, it's
apparently 5 or 6 numbers is hard to memorize. Cough, cough, you guys.
You know, he makes a really strong point.
Hey, my grade isn't dependent on these numbers.
What the show's grade is, sir.
She didn't forget. She intentionally didn't tell him. She
Did I
didn't
understand this.
Yeah, no, she did it intentionally. She was like, "I wanted to surprise you," because he said specifically, "If you tell me your number," because she said when the results came out, my number was 99, but then at the end she was like, Sorata said, "If you tell me your number was actually 66, I'm disowning you," and she said, "How'd you know?" And yeah, she was joking.
It's still.
She had not forgotten. She did it intentionally.
One
And
thing,
it's just like a week.
Yeah, it was
Thing.
dumb. It was so dumb.
Okay. At least we can agree on that.
One-shot gags.
one thing
That's
I
okay.
missed, if they did talk about this, is did anyone, ever think Ryunosuke was a girl?
I mean, no.
Very,
I think-
very briefly.
I think I may have the first time I watched it.
He
Maybe.
looked like the girl from, that one shoujo where nothing happens. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
you narrowed it down.
They put him in a maid costume at one point, so they did acknowledge the fact that he looks like a girl.
Okay.
At the cultural fest, they put him in a maid costume.
Hold on, what was the name of this show? If anyone knows what I'm talking about, it's like very pretty
I
girl
don't
with bangs. Everyone thinks that she's a demon, red eyes.
His voice is not the
stuff.
voice of a girl, though. So.
No.
No.
Yeah, I liked that part at least.
And I kind of hated his relationship with Rita. I hated Rita as a character anyway.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
she kind of came out of nowhere and was kind of annoying. I don't really know what else to say, but Yunosuke was like a shut-in and then hated girls, and then suddenly she was like, "I don't know you at all, but I'm gonna kiss you." Like, I've seen you maybe twice, but I like you. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
oh no, that's not.
Yeah, it
Gotta
was a
give
little
points for
weird.
spunk, I guess.
Yeah.
Kimi ni Todoke, from me to you. That's what it's called.
Okay.
It's cute. Nothing happens, but it's cute.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
He
just remind me of the main character from it.
Well, yeah. Where are we now?
I mean, we've been
Great
jumping
Peter
around.
Juan? Yeah.
We've mostly
Yeah.
been jumping around. I don't think we're actually following plot points. Is that
Yeah,
what we were
no.
supposed to be doing on this
No,
one? Because
I
I
don't
think
know.
in character drivens we focus on the characters a lot more than we focus on strict progression from line A to line B.
Right.
It's more like a big ball of slimy, timey, wibbly wobbly anime.
Slimy
Good.
Timey, I don't think
Trying-
those are part of it.
I was close.
Slimy
Me trying
timey,
to
man. Slimy
encourage
timey.
you to bring up another conversation topic.
Because I've only brought up the last like 5. Thanks, guys.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that I have much else to say.
Does
Honestly,
anyone have much else to say about this?
The thing about it is like it's a rom-com, so like
yeah, it's a rom-com.
The rom-com.
We went over characters and the arcs, and yeah.
is this gonna
I
be our
love the
shortest
graduation.
podcast yet?
Okay, I can continue it. Alright, Sorata, his pitch to the anime dude, I can't believe, or to the video game dude, I can't believe they took him seriously for a moment, because there was nothing different from his game than the 30,000 games that already exist. It's rhythm game where people fight each other. That's like almost all of them
Well,
now.
well, that's why he failed the first time. They had another rhythm game, and so they were like,
He got far with it though. They
Yeah.
they kept him for like 5 more episodes.
because he made a good game. It was just not that no one else was doing it. You know, like it's not saying it wasn't a
Are
good
you-
game.
Honestly,
But
I
that
feel like a
being
unique
said-
idea gets you further than a good game.
Are you
Well,
are you
also-
guys familiar with Sesame Street Fighter?
shut up, Allan. They said it was a rhythm game that was like every other rhythm game is the one that actually made it through, which I thought was funny. Whereas his idea to like actually fight something was a little different. So I don't know. I can't actually think of rhythm games where you fight something. Like you said, everything's like that, but I don't.
I was actually gonna say Sesame Street Fighter is the closest thing I can think of.
I mean,
Really?
okay, I did over exaggerate,
There's
but I
the
have
Final
played
Fantasy one
games
as well.
in
Oh yeah, I guess so.
in Ichiban-Con where they had rhythm fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
It's-
conventions, you have a lot of those, to be fair.
It's
Yeah.
not a oh, for sure. Okay, but that being said, the characters always fail, which I thought was nice. It kind of got worn out by the end of the show, I would say.
It's
But-
almost like the opposite problem that most anime have of like, they
Yeah.
always succeed except for that one time. This one's like, no one succeeds, why even bother?
Naruto
Yeah.
just gets that one punch in. Like it's really just one.
Look, it's a really strong punch.
Usually fueled by a giant fox, but not this time. I will argue.
I enjoyed
know-
the reversal.
I will argue there though, that once more in the manga arc, does that count as a failure or a success?
It was the manga arc, so it's a failure inherently.
Fair enough. I think on that note, we're ready to go to final thoughts and ratings. This might be a shorter episode, but I'd rather that than just drag it out because, quite frankly, this is just a rom-com.
Yeah.
And I
It's-
think that's gonna lead me into my final score of
if
just a rom-com out of 10.
if I can make one last point, like,
Mhm.
I mean, kind of going into final scores, other than just a rom-com, I've kind of already said it, but what sets it apart for me is that they do really grow, and like, it's not only about romance, they actually have goals that they're working towards, and they're actually failing, but also getting better as they're going at it. So I think watching the characters live and learn that way, and then the fact that there are so many different romances happening all at once, I think that's what makes the show special. But yes, it is still just a rom-com. So
Yeah. Let's talk about final verdicts here. For me, 5.5 out of 10. I think it was okay. This is gonna take a little explanation because 5.5 technically means above average. I don't think, like, in terms of the plot or characters, that the show is above average. Sorry. Or in terms of the humor for me. I don't think the show itself was above average. That said, I think the quality of the show, I don't think the show was meant for me, right? I didn't like it. I didn't really like the premise. I didn't really like it going in. I didn't really like it coming out. Though there were some moments that were okay in the second half, which saved it somewhat. That said, I think the overall quality of the show, it had enough production behind it. The art style was fine. The music did its job, but nothing more. The art style was good enough, really, I think. And there was work put behind this show. I think there's legitimate effort and work put behind this show that cannot be ignored and cannot just be pushed under the rug. That said, it doesn't deserve the boost all the way to a 6 out of 10. So we're gonna go, and I just really learned I could do this, 5.5 out of 10. And that's all I can really give it.
Fair enough. Alright, I give it a 7 out of 10 for being a pretty exceptional rom-com. Like, compared to all the rom-coms out there. You know, we watch Fortune Arterial.
Okay, no, this is Fortune Arterial. This is 15 out of 10. This is a 50 out of 10 best show I've ever watched. This is why I don't compare to ones every time I'm reviewing something.
No, but I think it's better than the average rom-com. Its highs were pretty high. Of course, its lows were also kind of low. The comedy sometimes falls flat, but also can sometimes bring out a chuckle. The characters themselves grow to be maybe not who they want it to be, but into more interesting people. They get better at what they're doing, but they still end up failing. In the end, they succeed, and so 7. I'm bad at ending these things, as you could probably tell.
I give it a 5.5 out of 10, which
That's how I learned I could do it.
I was okay. So the beginning, once again, awful. I thought it was enjoyable enough. I would not recommend it to anyone unless you really... Okay, I'm going to use the phrase again, although by now it's starting to not sound like a real thing anymore. Rom-com. If you really like rom-coms, watch this. You'll enjoy it. If not, do not watch this. Don't. Please stay away. Not worth your time. I would not watch this in my free time. Oh, but I did.
I would count this as work.
Okay. Yeah, are you done, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I resonate with, like, both of what Allan and Thomas said. I thought it was a pretty exceptional rom-com. Like, compared to many things I've watched, this one, for a long time, has stood out. I watched this as it aired, originally, in 2013. And that in these 3 years, almost, it stood out to me as, like, I really like Sakurasou. It's a quite exceptional rom-com. But if you don't like rom-coms, show's definitely not for you. Like, that's what it is at its heart. And if you like that sort of thing, then I think you will really, really like this show. So I would recommend it to you if you like rom-coms. Definitely watch this if you like romantic comedies. And with that, yeah, my final score for this show is an 8.5. Because I think it is great for its genre.
Woo!
Alrighty. So, before we go into what's going to be happening with the channel and the show for the next few weeks, I would like to call out Reject Gaming, Shane Fernandez, Distressed Radiator 74, and especially Prime Nose for just being really cool in the chat, because it's been really fun interacting with you guys. So, on that note, talking about the future, next week is mine. And like every next week is mine, you guys are getting quality. I present to you Kuroko no Basuke Season 1. The basketball which Kuroko plays, if you guys want the translation there. This time I can do things. Alright, so this is usually when I would ask the person, why did you choose this? So Javon, why did you choose this? Glad I asked. So.
Narcissist.
Yes, always. I'm the best. I'm the greatest person on this podcast. I'm just number one, always. I'm the hero.
My cat picture begs to differ.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Can never argue with the cat picture. But, Kuroko. This was my first sports anime when I thought I would hate sports anime. As it turns out, sports anime are just shonen, but with a ball. It's so good.
That's very true.
It's just shonen with a ball in a tournament style always.
That's the most accurate thing I've ever heard.
It's just so great. Yeah, no, and Kuroko was my first. I think the first season technically is weaker than the the other seasons, I think seasons 2 and 3 just show constant improvement, which is really great and will reflect in my score next week. But I still think the first season is incredible, is definitely worth watching, and I cannot wait for us to discuss this. Sports anime.
I wouldn't normally agree with Javon's choice, but this is a good one. This is a good one.
This is primo, I swear.
I enjoy
Also,
it.
if any of you out there have a good, online, can find a good Kuroko wall scroll or poster, just link it to me. Please. I've been looking for so long. Preferably something with the Saren team. I'll also take the old Taiko team. But I can never find one that I actually like, even on Google Images. Nothing. But that said, alright, a few other things before we leave. That will be in 2 weeks, which means it will be, give me a date, says the internet, October 10th? Yeah, October 10th we'll be back with Kuroko Season 1, which will be an incredible time to continue on to this lovely podcast with these people. Somewhere in the in-between, we will be having Real Taku. There's a great shonen discussion to be had, I believe. So, that'll be great. We're going to be talking about the evolution of shonen, where it's going from now, because I think there's been a drastic shift, especially as the big three plus Fairy Tail have all really hit their ends at around this point, minus One Piece, which is eternal. So, that said, I think that's a really great discussion to have, and as soon as I figure out how to make a 5-man overlay, we will be talking Real Taku.
So,
does anybody have any other announcements to make?
I was gonna mention in the chat, Prime Nose suggested some anime, and GD Fairies is even on Crunchyroll, so I may look into adding that to our schedule, Prime Nose.
I've never even heard of it.
Neither
Same,
had I,
but-
but this looks quite intriguing.
Oh God!
You know what we should?
God!
You guys know what we should watch?
I need to find out. I need to find out what this is before we... Oh my lord!
We will consider this one.
No!
We
For
will.
mercy.
We will.
I hope you're happy, Prime Nose. I hope you're happy.
Well, we can just watch Banana.
Wait, no. Look at the second one. Look at the second
Yeah.
one.
Oh god, alright, Popey the Performer, and then after that, I think we're gonna bid you guys adieu. But first, we need to find out what the fans are saying. We need to know Popey the Performer, image... No.
How do you spell it? What is it?
No, just, it's in the chat, just pretend it's not.
Javon's being very negative, but we appreciate the suggestions, Prime Nose.
Not all anime is 10 out of 10, that's
That's
true,
true.
but I do care about myself just a little
This is
bit.
what we have to watch. Oh,
Alright.
God, wait.
Yep, alright, on that note, I would like to say thank you all for being a wonderful audience, YouTube audience. You guys will count in the future, I am sure. So, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Ohio.